name is Ayesha and I live in Lahore. Today I'm going to narrate the story of the most terrifying journey of my life to you. This is from the days when I was studying in the second year and a college trip was being organized to the northern areas. We were approximately 20 girls. Our principal and 2 teachers were traveling with us, so everything felt perfectly normal. We were all incredibly happy and excited. The entire journey was filled with laughter, jokes, singing songs, and taking countless pictures on the bus. We spent the whole day exploring the beautiful surroundings and enjoying every moment of the trip. However, the real story began when we were accommodated in an old hotel at night. The hotel looked fine from the outside, but as soon as we stepped inside, a strange feeling began to turn the joy in our hearts into sadness. The corridor was very long and the lighting was very dim. There were old portraits on the walls whose faces looked very strange. It felt as if those pictures were watching us. We girls were accommodated on the upper floor with 3 girls assigned to each room. In my room, my friends Miriam and Sarah were with me. We had dinner at night and kept talking for quite a long time. Around past 12, we started getting ready to sleep. But as soon as we turned off the light and lay down, I took out my phone and started looking at the pictures from the day. Suddenly, I heard the sound of someone's footsteps in the corridor. It felt as if someone was walking very slowly. I shook Miriam. "Miriam, listen, someone is outside." Miriam listened for a moment and said, "Maybe it's a girl from our group." We opened the door slowly. The corridor was completely empty. Only a dim light was on. We looked at each other and came back into the room. About 10 minutes later, suddenly our room's window began to rattle violently. The curtains were fluttering rapidly, even though there wasn't much wind outside. Sarah looked outside the window terrified, and suddenly she froze. I asked, "What happened?" She said softly, "Look at that old building on the mountain." We saw that there was an old building in the distance, and someone was standing in its window watching us. All 3 of us remained completely still for a few moments. Then suddenly that shadow disappeared. This sight was very terrifying. We hadn't even recovered from this when suddenly the sound of running water started coming from the bathroom. All 3 of us looked at each other. "Did someone leave the tap open?" Miriam asked. We shook our heads. "No." Miriam gathered courage and walked towards the bathroom. As soon as she opened the door, there was no one inside. However, the tap was running at full flow. She turned off the tap, and we sat back down on the bed. But right at that moment, there was a knock on the door. We thought perhaps it was one of our friends. We opened the door, but there was no one outside. The corridor was completely empty. However, wet footprints were marked on the floor as if someone had just emerged from the water. Those prints went all the way to the end of the corridor and then suddenly vanished. By now, we were truly terrified. We closed the door, turned the light on, and sat down. After a little while, the room's light went off by itself. The entire room was plunged into darkness. Sarah started screaming. I immediately turned on my mobile's flashlight, and as the light shone towards the door, we saw a girl standing near the door. Her long hair had fallen over her face. Her clothes were wet, and her eyes were staring straight at us. She slowly started walking toward us. Miriam screamed loudly. At that exact moment, the girl suddenly disappeared. We were shocked because no one heard our screams and no one came to help us. None of us had the courage to step outside the room. All three of us stayed awake the entire night. As soon as morning came, we went down to the reception. We told the old hotel manager everything. He remained silent for a while, then said softly, "Years ago, a college trip came here. A girl disappeared at night. Later, her body was found near the river at the foot of the mountain." Goosebumps broke out all over us. The manager said quietly, "People say she still walks in the corridor at night." That very day, we left that hotel immediately. But even today, whenever the sound of footsteps echoes in a desolate place at night, that night comes back to my memory. And sometimes I feel perhaps that girl is still waiting for a new guest.